Warning, warning, wee wee. If you're a big fan of Oshi No Ko, you might not want to listen to this because I'm not, and I have a lot of really salty takes on it. And if you're like, look, there's just nothing that'll get me through my day if I'm not enjoying Oshi No Ko without your salty takes about it, then you shouldn't listen to this because you're going to get those salty takes. But if you continue, you're doing it at your own peril. You're not allowed to be mad at me. Hey, Feen. It's me, Cube.
Yeah, hi, Cube. It's me, Feen. It's been a while since we had to do a warning.
Yeah, I was thinking like this is the original slushy vibe where it's just like I need to yell about this thing with my friend. I need it.
Yeah. That is the basis of the podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is the thing you need to yell about?
I mean, obviously you're aware of Oshi No Ko.
Yeah.
It's the big anime of the season. Everybody's talking about it. Everyone was like, you guys got to watch it. You got to watch it and not hear anything about it. Go watch it blind. It's crazy.
Yeah, I will say this was the way that it had been pitched at me a couple of times, was that you should watch it completely cold. Do not read anything about it before you go in. And from what I understand, you were not pleased that this is how people were approaching it.
Yeah, because my feeling is that people say it like that and you get the idea that it's like Birdie Wing or something where it's just like, you're just in for a time. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be so wild. I just don't want to describe it to you because it's so off the walls. Wowza wooza. You're going to have a great time. But it's not like that. It's more like fucking Wonder Egg later on.
Oh, jeez.
The other thing we were comparing it to was A Silent Voice.
Oh, no.
Because it gives you that feeling of just like everyone's like, it's so beautiful and really like covering issues and stuff. And then you go in there and you're just like, are you shitting me? Are you shitting me with the way it's doing this? Well, what the fuck? Everyone's beating up the deaf girl. Is it covering the issues? Oh boy. This is that, but for the idol industry.
Okay. We got to do it. We got to do a Silent Voice at some point.
Yeah, we really do.
Okay, but so this is gross in some way, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
And so what do you know about it? Obviously, you've encountered some information about it just by looking in slushy chat or whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, initially I didn't know much, and then I was spoiled a bit on the fact that it does involve the idol industry to some extent, and very, very young idols. Sarah in the chat saying, lol, sorry. Yes, it was you. And then beyond that, I know there's something involving reincarnation.
Oh boy. Okay, so you have been able to avoid most like information about it.
For the most part, yeah. I mean, I've seen accusations about other parts of it, and I'm not sure what.
From who?
I don't know who to trust. But oh yeah, I wonder by who.
You can always trust me, Feen.
I would say you haven't led me astray, but also you made me watch Ruby. So.
Well, yeah, but I mean, we agree about it.
That's true. I can't say I disagreed with you about Ruby.
Yeah. All right, here's the thing. Start. You've probably seen the main character. Why do I even call her that? You've seen the poster girl for the show, right? Like the long blue hair with the crazy starry eyes.
I actually haven't. I haven't seen really many visuals from the show at all.
Oh, someone post her because she's like, whenever they advertise the show, it's always with this idol. And so it looks like she's going to be the main character, whatever. It's all about her. And her eyes are always crazy rendered with this star in them. And people be like, it's beautiful, but I think it's super uncanny. She's kind of creepy. It's just so much. It's just so much.
It feels like the sort of thing you might get used to after a bit.
Kinda, if there were opportunity. Oh, so here's the thing. So the initial setup of the manga takes 10 chapters and is the first episode, which is 120 minutes long. It's the length of 3 episodes. It's like a movie.
Oh, movie length episode. Okay, right.
Yeah, so like I'd heard that it was a long first episode and I assumed it was double length, but it is triple length. And I was like, Jesus.
Okay.
But it's because that's how long it takes to get started on the show.
Okay, so it has maybe the setup is a bit more complicated than I was expecting.
Yeah, so open on the show. This is a work of fiction. Actually, everything in this world is fictional. The idol world is a world full of lies. Lies are weapons, and idol fans are those who like to be lied to skillfully. Boom, pew, pew, welcome to the lie world. The narration says that kind of thing.
Oh, it's a narration. Okay, righto, cool.
Yeah, the narration lets you know. And it cuts to our main character who is a doctor guy, like a generic looking glasses doctor guy, and he's watching his beloved idol Ai in a patient's room, just like a random patient that isn't a fan of hers. And the nurse comes in and turns the lights on and is like, please stop watching your stupid idol shit in patient's rooms. He's like, but I love it so much. Ooh.
Okay.
And so this nurse is the only character whom I stan. She's amazing. She's not in the show for very long, but she's a queen and she says only correct things.
Okay.
Because they're like out on the roof and he's trying to defend himself for being such a big fan of this idol. And she's like, she's 16, right? I guess you're a lolicon.
Oh, well. Okay. All right. So we're skewering idol fans. That's what we're doing, right?
Oh, God, you wish. Oh, wait, I forget. Actually, before she mentions that, she informs him that I is apparently going on hiatus. And so he's like, no, he's having a freak out. And that's why she's like, oh, it's kind of cringe that you're freaking out that much. Oh, she's 16, lolicon. And he's like, no, I have my reasons. You don't understand. Flashback time.
Okay.
You see, when he was a resident doctor, there was a 12-year-old patient that he used to spend a lot of time with that was like a girl with terminal cancer kind of situation.
All right, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, someone posted a picture of her so you can tell that she's terminal illness girl because she's bald.
Yes.
And so she was a big fan of I. So you
Right.
know her love for I was pure because she's a girl idol fan.
Sure.
She would always talk about how she would like to be reborn with a face like I, so cool and cute and powerful. And he insists that she's cute enough as she is. She doesn't need to be reborn at all.
Mm-hmm.
And she asks to marry him. You know, she's 12 and he's a 20-something-year-old.
Yeah.
And he says, whoa, I'd be dead socially if I did that.
Yeah, that's the issue.
Yeah. And he says he'll consider it when she turns 16.
Oh, great.
And see, it's a joke, though, because he knows she'll be dead by then.
Wait, hang on.
So it's okay.
How do we know that's the joke?
Because she's like, that's a cruel joke.
Right.
And then it cuts to her dead.
Oh. Oh, that's kind of funny. That's funny in an extremely dark and awful way.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, you don't have to worry about how much of a lolicon pedophile guy he was, cause she's dead. We never have to worry about that. It's fine.
Okay, but like, so he keeps paying attention to this idol in tribute to the girl he wasn't going to marry?
In theory.
Okay.
And so it cuts back to the nurse, and the nurse is like, oh, that's all cool. So you are a lolicon then. And I was like, yeah! God damn it, she's the best. Comeback queen. Because he insists his love is pure. Like, it's just like a pure love, you know? It's not, there's nothing romantic or sexual. Because the idol is also 16 now. She's exactly 16, of course.
Of course.
And she's like, okay, but what if she came and asked to date you? Would you date her? And he changes the subject. It's like, oh, we better go now. Oh, I can't answer.
Oh, God, that's creepy. Wait. Okay, no, I shouldn't guess. I shouldn't try to predict what's happening there, but I think I guessed the first part of what's happening. Yeah.
Oh, boy. And something about this is like, so it's like cutting the line between, it's treating 16 like it's the age of legally having sex and marrying and stuff in Japan, which it isn't anywhere actually in Japan. It's just something that you like will say for anime. You know, it's like technically it's true in the same way that America technically doesn't have a minimum age to get married.
Yeah, because it's...
You know, because it goes by state.
This feels like one of those things that weebs, like awful weebs, say about Japan when they like to pretend that it's the land where they can marry a child.
Well, that's because anime does it, and weebs only know about Japan via anime.
Okay.
But the thing is that the nurse acknowledges that by liking a 16-year-old, he's basically a pedo.
Yeah, that's good.
So it's like this anime is treating it both like at 16 they're old enough, but actually we know that at 16 they are not old enough. It's like doing it both things, and it's like, well then fuck this guy.
Can we transport this nurse to Egg as well? Because we could have used her there as well, I think.
Oh god, yeah.
Like, you know, he takes I back to the room where he's got the painting of her, and then she just bursts in with the cops. That would be good.
People were reminding me about all the shit that happened in Egg today, and you really forget about all the shit.
Yeah. Again, I know you sort of already answered this, but we're not talking quite Egg levels with Oshi No Ko?
I guess it depends.
Okay.
So here's the thing. It's time for one of his appointments to come in. He's an OBGYN now.
Oh.
And so a girl with a hat on comes in with a big pregnant belly, and he's looking at her big pregnant belly, and he's like, that looks like about 20 weeks along, because I'm a really good doctor. I can tell by eyeballing it. And then she takes her hat off, and it's you can't believe it. He didn't bother trying to look at her face before.
Oh, shit. Pregnant idol. I guess that's why she's quitting.
Well, they had just said that she was like taking a hiatus for an injury or something.
Right.
But it's actually because she got pregnant secretly.
But like, I assume she hasn't been doing anything for 20 weeks or so. Or at least a while.
I guess for the first while, she could have, hid it or whatever.
Yeah, potentially.
Because that's the thing is, like, I don't buy that a doctor could just be like, that looks like 20 weeks long, and then he takes an ultrasound and it is 20 weeks. I don't think you can judge it by eyeballing quite that well.
Well, yeah, because it looks different on everyone, is my understanding, but whatever.
Yeah. So he has a creepy freak out in the hallway because his beloved idol is pregnant. Idol's what? But he's her idol, but she's pregnant. I'm in such shock I'm going to vomit.
Oh,
no.
okay, so he's upset that... Oh, okay, so it's that sort of purity thing we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
And he hears her, she came with her manager guy, and he hears them talking in the room while he's outside having a freak out. And he's like, really, who even is the father? And she's like, it's a secret.
Oh, yeah, because she's 16, right?
Yes, she is 16.
Okay.
So at the end, we will talk about what you find out about the dad in the manga.
Okay.
So they cut to when she's getting her ultrasound, and she's 20 weeks pregnant with twins.
Right.
So you'd think that he would have assumed she's further along because she has twins. But, he's just that good.
Yeah, hang on. Yeah. Okay, yeah, they should be like 10 weeks along.
Yeah.
I don't know how volumetric babies are, but whatever.
So she's like, should I have these babies? What do you think, Dr. Guy? And he's like, you have to make up your own mind. I'm being professional about this. But then when he's out in the waiting room getting a drink from the vending machine, some guys are watching an Idol thing on TV and they're like, man, wouldn't it be great to be born an Idol's kid? You'd be all set and stuff. But could you really stand an idol who's got a husband and kids? And he's like looking like, oh fuck, this is a deep quandary I have. Can I stand an idol who has child? Oh no.
I guess I could see how this potentially could be about how idol culture and how it's fucked.
Yeah, it does. People do want it to be that way. They do want to believe that it's being that way. It's not.
Okay.
But he decides, you know what? No, I is his idol and his love for her is pure. He'll support her even if she loves someone else. That's how he phrases it.
Oh, wow. What a good guy.
And when he thinks about it, he looks at Serena on his lock screen, the cancer girl, because he made her his lock screen. And it's like, that would be so fucking creepy if this goddamn resident was just like spending all this time with this random like young patient who clearly had a thing for him and then like made his lock screen.
No. That's inappropriate.
And he's being all wistful out on the roof about the situation, and I comes out and he reveals that he knows who she is, because she like basically came out to this rural clinic to like hopefully not have anyone know who she was theoretically.
Right.
But he reveals that he knows her, and she's like, oh, what? How do you know who I am? And he's like, oh, one of my patients was a big fan of yours. And he never actually admits to her that he also is a giant fan of hers, big creepy fan guy.
Right, okay.
And at no point does he consider recusing himself from this patient, from being the OBGYN of this patient who he's in love with.
Yeah, that's the thing with OBGYNs is like you want to trust that they're not interested in you in any possible way. Mm-hmm. Like... Yeah.
It's fucking creepy as hell.
Yeah,
in real life,
sucks.
he'd be so bad. Yeah. This is our main character guy.
Okay.
So he's like, so what do you do? Like, you're going to have the babies and then give up being an idol? And she says, no, I'm going to have the babies and keep being an idol. And she makes like a kind of like dramatic, creepy face. And she's like, lies are the most exquisite love. Lies and lies piled on. Woo. No, being an idol is all about lies. And I'll just lie about not having had babies.
This dialogue is reminding me of something.
What's that?
I'm not sure. Some other bullshit we've watched. But like...
To me, it had real Death Note wannabe kind of vibes. It actually reminded me of... Did you ever read any of the manga that Death Note guy made after Death Note about making manga?
No, I didn't.
Bakuman. It was very well considered at first by a lot of people because it's drawn by that same artist as Death Note and stuff. But it's that kind of thing where like every character just has to monologue about how the world really works, and they're so smart, and there's only 3 kinds of women, and they're blah blah blah. I've got it all figured out.
Yeah.
There's all like that kind of dialogue over and over.
Yeah, it's a bit of that. Yeah, it's that sort of dialogue where you're trying to sound deep and cynical, but it just sort of sounds... I don't know. I just end up going, shut up.
Someone said it's like those kinds of people who write those realist Harry Potter AU fics or whatever. Just like...
Oh, jeez, that's a burn.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I should mention that you said something about this show, which I think is the harshest thing I've ever seen you say about an anime, which was that
Oh shit, what'd I say?
you said it belongs on Amazon Prime, which is like...
Oh yeah, it belongs on Amazon Prime with the other creepy shows that are only on Amazon Prime for some reason.
Amazon Prime is the
Yeah.
home of things that even Netflix says no to, and Netflix doesn't say no to much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where it should go. But instead it's anime of the month or whatever, and everybody thinks it's amazing.
Yeah.
Because, like, I will say it is well animated, and, like, they're clearly, especially for this, you know, like, feature-length pilot, they put in a lot of money and stuff into the animation. So a lot of stuff is, like, presented as very beautiful and deep, even though it's not very Violet Evergarden vibes.
Yeah, very silent voice. But that's sort of the trick you pull, yeah.
Yeah. But so I says, you know, like, despite all those lies and stuff, I want to feel happiness for real. You know, no one realizes it, but us idols, we have our own lives and feelings too. This is where I want to jump over to an interview that the creator Aka Akasaka... Oh yeah, so here's the thing. This anime is based on a manga that's written by the creator of Kaguya-sama Love is War, Aka Akasaka.
Sure.
Aka Akasaka.
Which I haven't read, but has been recommended to me by people that I trust.
From what I understand, it's a fun rom-com anime thing.
Yeah.
And the artist is the artist from a manga that's most known for Scum's Wish, which is like one of those love quadrangle stories, but there's fucking, and one of the people involved is a teacher.
Oh, okay.
So that person is very into age gap romances. Kaguya-sama person, we don't know prior to this work.
Oh, someone in the chat saying 2 of the people involved are teachers.
Oh, great.
Yeah, cool.
Great. So, what inspired you to portray the idol world in such a dark and dramatic way for a fictional work? This is a interviewer asking this of Akasaka.
Sure.
So Akasaka had been talking about how they like talked to a bunch of people to learn about the entertainment industry so that they could write this drama about the entertainment industry. And they said, there's an instance of a cast member being attacked by a fan who saw a picture of the first news of the movie release. You know, like someone was trolling her about it. But when that happened, the person came across as very tough. But after we became friends, they confessed that they were badly hurt emotionally. When I found that out, I realized that talents hide their true colors for the sake of their works and for their fans who are supporting them. And it's like, duh.
Yeah, well, yeah, that. But also, isn't that a case of like, that's not a case of like them necessarily lying to them. That's just them not saying that they felt bad about something, isn't it?
No, yeah, it's just not like putting all your shit on the streets about when people hurt your feelings.
Yeah, but that's different to like...
No, it's the same. It's the same. It's living a lie.
I was going to say, I'm not judging this character for keeping her pregnancy a secret or whatever, but still having the kids. But it's like, I feel like from what you were describing, that's framed as a much more sort of devious thing or something. The whole thing about lying being love. This person hiding that they were hurt by an attack doesn't seem like lying for the sake of love or whatever.
Well, look, I'm not saying these two situations are supposed to be, you know, like one-to-one.
Oh, okay.
It's mostly because she said, you know, like, people don't realize, but us idols have our own lives and feelings too.
Oh, well, yeah.
And so this also seems to be him having suddenly realized, like, oh, they do have their own lives and feelings that aren't all upfront all the time. And it's just like, duh.
Yeah.
Duh.
Yeah.
It's not like a deep new thing to talk about. Oh, of course they're fucking people.
Yeah, that's not an insight. Like, if that's where we're starting on the level of insights, I don't know how far we're going to get here.
He's the only person who's found out. He needs to let people know. So because she expresses that she wants to find this happiness and she has feelings too, he decides that, you know what? Okay, my views as a doctor and fan have now aligned and I will help you give birth to your children. Because before I was really torn up about it because maybe you need to get rid of those babies because I love you as an idol, I guess. But now he supports her fully.
I love the idea that a doctor would say, I'm not going to help you. Like, the doctor will be thinking about whether or not he actually provides service to this person because they're an idol, like not for like religious reasons or whatever.
It is a religion.
Oh, true.
So that was at 20 weeks. There's something I need you to understand. The timeline is completely fucked in this in this story. It drives me up the batshit wall. So that's 20 weeks, right?
Right.
We skip to 40 weeks in.
Sure.
So she's like at the end of her pregnancy. It's almost time for her to have her bebes.
Yes.
And so he leaves for the night and is like, you can call me at any time. I live right nearby. If you start delivering birth, then I will deliver your bebes.
Okay.
And so he goes walking off into the night, and then a creepy stalker man approaches him and is like, "Hey, is I in this hospital?" And he's like, "Wait, how do you know I's surname? That's not public information. Pew, pew, pew. I am on the case. You're actually a creepy stalker guy, creepy hood guy." And the guy's like, "Oh, fuck, you sunk my battleship." And he starts running off. And the doctor runs after him, and the guy pushes the doctor off a cliff and kills him. And he's dead now.
Okay, all right, okay. I've got to. No, okay. I still shouldn't predict, but I'm certain I know what happens at this point.
Well, you did say that you know that some kind of reincarnation thing is involved.
This doctor is one of new baby, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a baby. He's only a baby.
Great.
So, doctor goes missing, presumed dead. And now we cut to, he's a baby now. His name is Aquamarine because she chose stupid names for her babies. And she was giving birth on that night because, like, there's a whole dramatic thing where his phone was ringing because she was ready to give birth. But he's dying there, bleeding out, having thoughts about, his love for his idol. But
yeah, for his 16-year-old idol. Oh, good. So
yeah. Yeah, as he's dying, he thinks of her, he thinks of Serena, the cancer girl, and he thinks of that whole, like, wouldn't it be nice to be reborn as an idol's kids? Blah, 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 blah. What? Now I'm Aquamarine.
Do those people actually say, would it be nice to be reborn as an idol's kid? Or just like, would it be nice to be an idol's kid?
I think reincarnated or whatever.
Okay, so they actually just randomly talked about reincarnation.
I'm not sure when it comes to the guys in that waiting room. Akasaka was saying it was like a joke among his coworkers that they like would be constantly joking about, wouldn't it be nice to be an idol's kid? Wouldn't it be great to be reborn as an idol's kid or whatever?
Right.
So
it seems strange. I'm sorry. I just want to quickly say, Boss Baby, right?
Yeah.
That's wacky because he's a boss, but he's also a baby.
Yeah.
Pedophile baby is a terrible idea for a film.
He has a pure love. Please. Please.
But see, also OBGYN baby, like Doctor Baby, that would work a lot better. You know, your OBGYN walks in, but it's a toddler.
Oh, don't worry. The fact that he's a doctor is never relevant again. It sucks. It sucks because he's going to be very good at things, and it has nothing to do with the fact that he was a doctor.
I mean, that's fair. I don't want him doing OBGYN work as a toddler.
Look, he can just get up in there.
That's a very different show, is my point. But that's true. You would have small hands, I suppose. Anyway.
So here's the thing. Timeline, right?
Yeah.
So it's established that she was out of commission as an idol for 6 months. Now we know when she came to the hospital, she was already 20 weeks pregnant.
Right.
And she gave birth at 40 weeks, which puts you at wait a second.
I'm bad at maths.
This doesn't make any sense. So she's at like 9 months, right? So I guess you could say that she stopped idling at like 3 months pregnant.
Sure.
But also the babies are going to be walking and talking, and they can't be more than like a month old. And they look like toddlers.
I did see something about this, about how like these babies are talking like people at entirely the wrong age.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, like them being able to talk is one thing, but like, can someone post a picture of these babies during the baby period? Because these are like 1 month olds.
Yeah, that's no.
It's horse shit. It's such horse shit. They shouldn't be able to fucking like sit up.
Okay, well, hey, now just real quick. Okay, so he's got his adult brain in baby body.
Yeah.
What about the sister?
We'll get to her. Here's the thing. He has no idea how this happens, but you know what? He's going to enjoy his baby life. He loves being pampered by his favorite idol.
That's gross.
As a baby.
That's
as
gross.
Your son.
That's gross. I don't like that.
What's gross about it?
I don't like. No, this is like that. This is not unlike that other anime that popped up a couple of seasons ago, where the guy got transformed into the dog of his crush. Like that is, this is more or less the same thing in a way.
It's not creepy because he didn't ask for this.
Oh,
he just is the baby of his idol now. So why not? He should enjoy it and enjoy being pampered by his favorite idol.
Oh, cool. So it's non-con. That makes it way less creepy. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
What? I mean, it was either way. I mean, we can't bring con into this.
No, I suppose not. But still, this
is terrifying.
This is all bad. I don't like this.
Oh, just you wait.
Okay.
So then it introduces Ruby, his sister, because like she's crying and Ai goes and gets her.
She's legit called Ruby.
Her name is Ruby.
Okay.
And his name is Aquamarine, but most of the time he's shortened to Aqua.
Okay, so right. So they are named after colors. That's very interesting.
Well, I mean, they're named after gems.
Okay.
But so sometimes they do these jokes with Ai where like she can't remember which one of them is which, even though one of them has bright red eyes and one of them has bright blue eyes, and one's a girl with little girl hair and one's a boy. And she says like, I'm just really bad with names and faces because I'm a manic pixie dream girl.
Yeah, that's the joke you do with identical twins, not with non-identical twins.
Yeah, it's weird, and also doesn't make any sense with something that happens later.
Okay.
Though there is kind of a funny gag with like when she can't remember which is which, her manager is there and he like kind of chastises her, and she's like, "Wow, Japanese men sure are unreasonable about how mothers should be." And he's like, "This isn't like an international thing. Shut up." This isn't like a cultural issue.
Okay. So this is another thing that these shows seem to do, which they're doing weird social commentary.
Yeah. I've described this as Atlas woke, where people think that it's like trying to talk about issues because it brings them up because they're edgy, but it doesn't actually like care about them or like want to do any kind of social good or anything. It's just like, hey, sure is edgy to bring up this, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've talked about this in the past when it came to like when you would see trans people pop up in otherwise edgy manga from time to time, and it was like, and people used to talk about it being like rep, and it's like it's not that this person cares about trans people and is trying to put representation into a thing. It's just that trans people are an edgy thing. Like trans people.
I'm shocked that I don't think there's any trans people in this comic, because it's totally the kind of thing they would throw in as like, what?
Yeah, and so like trans people existing is a somewhat edgy thing, so you put it in for drama and edge. I mean, this is exactly what we ran into with Egg Guy.
Yeah,
where all of the stuff that he had made in the past was like all these really dramatic topics, but he wasn't exploring or really even necessarily knowing much about them. He was just putting them in because it was dramatic.
Right, and so some people will be like, it's really deconstructing the issues with this because it's showing bad things happening to these people in this context.
Yeah.
But it's just drama.
Just showing just acknowledging that a bad thing happens is not necessarily deconstructing it. Like there's got to be other context to it as well.
But also, like, if you were to say what's the main issue with the idol industry that you know about in Japan, it's fucking people like the main character and the way that they see these girls and the way that they're treated in order to create people like the main character who see them as this weird romantic sexual thing. Yeah,
no, I'm just going out on a limb here. I'm assuming that the main character is not the one the show comes down on.
People want to believe eventually the manga will get around to how he's bad, actually. If you just wait a few hundred more chapters, it'll really call him out about how he has a toxic relationship with his love of Ai and really should have thought about it more and not fallen into the industry propaganda. It's not. He's the hero.
Yeah, like this seems more like a fantasy setup from someone in his situation than it is necessarily about calling this dude out from the little you're telling me. I mean, look, I'm just trusting you in terms of how you're describing this to me. So
trust me, Feen, trust. Well, there's many things yet to happen. So the manager makes his wife take care of the kids and basically raise them for Ai while she's off doing idol things, because obviously they can't let people know that they're her kids, so they like pretend that they're the kids of the manager and the wife. And like she's like bummed that she has to do it, and it's like, damn, that does suck. It
does a bit, yeah. Just sort of palming kids off into someone else.
But I does want to bring them along, but she can't. Then there's a stupid scene where like Aqua grabs her shirt as she's getting up and her boob is almost revealed, and so he like with his little baby hands like raises the shirt, and she's like, oh whoops, I almost revealed my boob in front of my manager, ha ha ha. I misremembered it as I completed it with another scene that's about breastfeeding. And so I was mad that it was like, she should just be able to breastfeed her child in front of this person that she knows well. But it was just a random boob slip that had nothing to do with anything. I was mistaken.
But that he works to cover her up.
Yeah, because he's a baby who, he wants to keep her pure. He wants to maintain her purity. So,
okay, yeah, this really is like the way this thing of purity involving idols. But then like behind the scenes, she's all booby and shit. Ugh.
She is pure to the end in a way that is really frustrating.
Oh, okay.
So So there's a scene where the babysitter manager wife, she falls asleep, and so the kids can do what they please. And Aquamarine goes and he crawls over to the TV and turns on the TV so he can watch a idol performance that the mom's at.
Right.
And we see everyone backstage being all like gross and realist about this. They're like, oh, this girl isn't that cute, but we need to act like she's super cute. It's all business for us. Oh, wow, I can't believe they just see this business as a business. This shit's so edgy and deep. And the main character boy is like, oh man, I'm almost grateful that I was killed so I could be reborn and look after this girl I love so much, this idol. I'm gonna enjoy myself. He makes a creepy smile. He makes a fucking creepy smile. But now it's time to introduce Ruby as a character, as a proper character. Because before she was just crying and acting like a baby, but now she arrives and she's like, I want to see. Oh man, I'm so excited to see Mama. I just had my diaper changed, but I'm going to pee. I'm so excited.
Okay.
And so I assume you have a guess who Ruby is.
Ruby's the cancer girl who died, right?
Ruby is Serena, the cancer girl.
Yeah. I mean, she's the only other female character we've had so far, so she was really the only option.
Yeah. But here's the thing. So in terms of tropes and stuff, are you familiar with the trope about fraternal twins in Japan?
I'm not, actually.
I don't know exactly how far it goes back. I guess you could even call it mythology. But the idea is that fraternal twins are star-crossed lovers who died in a previous life. And so they end up being reborn as fraternal twins.
I don't like that. No.
Oh, yeah. I realized I forgot to bring that up in the chat when we were talking about this kind of thing. And I was like, oh, I wonder if some people aren't familiar with this.
Okay, so hang on. When you say this is a thing, you mean like outside of just anime bullshit?
It's not like something that people actually believe, but it's like an old folklore kind of thing to say. It's like, like, have you ever heard that fraternal twins were like star-crossed lovers in another life?
I love the idea that like old like folklore tales, thousands of years ago still involved anime bullshit. That's upsetting.
Look, it's considered a romantic idea.
You see a guy like telling the stories around the campfire, and there's two other people off the side going, "Oh, that dude fucking loves a lolicon."
Well, I mean, have you seen gods? Have you read about gods?
That's true.
They get up to some shit.
That's true. That sucks. I hate that. No.
But yeah, so it's just definitely something I was thinking about with the fact that these two were reborn as fraternal twins.
Yeah, just as a general concept, no, don't make the lovers now fucking related. That's, no. Ugh. Okay. Great.
So we have a flashback to the night that he realized that Ruby was also a reborn person because he caught her like on a phone participating in flame wars about how I is the best, defending her.
Okay.
And there's some shots in that flashback where they don't know how to draw the babies in profile. So like in profile, they just end up looking like fucking teens. And so this is like a 1-month-old baby that's just like using her phone, yelling with a teen head. And I was just like, what the fuck? This sucks. It's stupid. It's bad.
I mean, that would be, because otherwise that would be a funny thing, is that you find out you're actually arguing with like a sentient reborn 6-month-old on the internet.
Yeah.
You're getting roasted by an actual baby on TikTok.
It would make you rethink some things about life and existence.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, cut to creepy stalker man's house. He's still creepy and a stalker and mad. Ooh,
oh shit!
He's so mad that she had kids. Ooh, how dare she?
So it's public now, or just he knows?
He knows.
Okay.
Because he came to the hospital because
true.
he knew somehow.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
But now it's time for one of the worst scenes.
Okay.
Now we get to the breastfeeding scene.
Oh, for fuck. Oh.
So I offers him the booba, and he freaks out and is like, no, I'm gonna have the bottle. I'm a little, like he says, being breastfed would be crossing a line, because nothing else he's doing is crossing a line.
Yeah.
So mom offers the boob to Aqua, okay? But he doesn't, because he's a gentleman. That would be crossing the line. But Ruby gets the boob, and she suckles the boob, and she looks smugly at him as the milk drips down her face, because she gets to suckle the boob and not him, because she's a girl, so it's okay.
Yeah, that's great.
She says it's simply her right as a baby girl to suck on her mom's boobie. It's her right by birth. And he's like, wait, were you a girl in your past life? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, I guess I have to accept it then.
I don't like any part of that. Cool.
And she says, look away, I gotta get a diaper change. And the manager wife has to come in and change her diaper. And she's like really angry. She's sick of this shit. She's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to reveal the secret. I'll sell it to a gossip magazine. Get the fuck out of here. Live my best life.
Okay. And leave her husband, I guess?
Yeah. Well, I mean, her husband's making her raise these fucking kids for this idol or whatever. Fuck this guy.
I suppose.
Is how she seems to be feeling at this time.
Yeah, I guess. Fair.
And they're like, shit, we got to do something. Oh, she's too big for us to kill. What are we going to do? And so it's time for baby acting. And they decide to talk to her and convince her to raise the children as if they're like, they pretend to be gods or whatever. And they're like, these children are destined for greatness. So you must raise them, woman, and protect them. And then you will have good shit, or otherwise you'll die.
Okay.
So that works. Like, at first she thinks she's being pranked, but then the babies keep talking and acting super good. So she's like, fuck, I guess they're super special children. And what's really weird is that after this, they just continue talking to her like adults, even though this one time they talk to her, they're supposed to be possessing the children to talk to her in this way.
Yeah, but then they just keep talking. Yeah, okay.
But yeah, then they just talk to her. And I guess she just thinks because they're so special, they have the minds of adults as 1-month-olds. So, and because she was such a good actor pretending to be Amaterasu or whatever, Aquamarine is like, whoa, did you like take acting lessons in school or something? And she says, no, she never acted in school. She never went to school. Her situation was a bit unusual because we clearly don't know that she's Serena. We never would guess.
Okay, so they haven't revealed that yet.
No.
Okay.
Oh, but now they do a reveal where he's like, wow, so anyway, now I have a little sister who's this real weird otaku girl, but she reminds him of Serena, and he says that out loud as she's like falling asleep. And she's like, did you call to me? He's like, no, I was talking about somebody else. And she thinks, that's weird because that was my name before I was reborn.
So she doesn't know that he's the doctor?
No.
Okay.
Luckily, I don't think as far as they've gotten in the manga, she still doesn't know that because she still wants to marry the doctor.
Right, okay.
Even though he would be like 50 now.
Yeah, and dead. Like, people would have known he died, right?
Well, she says that before she finds out that the doctor died.
Oh, okay, right.
Which, whew.
Sure.
See, that's what happens. You just keep planning to make these marriage plans, but luckily the other person keeps dying first, so you don't have to ever pull the trigger on that.
Great.
So Ai's worried about not making enough money for her kid's future. She needs to do better as a idol or whatever, be more successful. And when she walks out to go to some kind of rehearsal practice, so this is when they like are just talking to the manager mom, and they're like, "What's up with that? Why isn't she getting more money? What's wrong with you?" Bah. And there's like occasional discussions about like, well, you don't know that it's hard. There's an idol industry. There's money involved. Whoa, you would never guess that they're not all rich, actually.
Okay.
And it cuts to Ai after rehearsal, and she reads a guy on Twitter saying that he can tell her smile isn't genuine. And it's actually like a very understated complaint. He's like, I guess that's just a smile of a professional for you. It's just not, real. That's just how it is. And she's like, oh man, that really cut me to the quick because I'm a liar smiler. Ooh. And so she feels bad about that.
Isn't that like the whole thing that love is about lying or whatever?
I guess it means she's not lying good enough.
Okay.
Something.
Right.
And then there's a scene where the manager lady agrees to take the babies to one of her performances as long as they act fucking normal, as long as they just suck on their pacifiers and don't make a scene. But instead of doing that, because they're selfish little fuckers, Ai is singing the song and they start doing a very elaborate light pen dance and going waboo 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 waboo, and everyone's like, whoa, look at those fucking crazy dancing babies. And it goes viral and they're mad about it, but because she sees her babies dancing, she does a true smile, and Tanuki Guy even says online, that's it, that's a true smile.
Okay. They just jumped up on stage in the middle of her performance?
No, they're in their little baby carriers. Someone posted a picture. They're like in their little double pram.
Oh,
and they're just
okay.
doing a crazy dance. I don't know what the camera was that takes this shot for the viral video.
Yeah.
Because it's like coming from Ai's perspective.
Yeah, okay, cool.
So, oh yeah, she genuinely smiles. Thanks to her lovey babies. Is like, okay, so that's how I genuinely smile. Is I do love when my babies do my routine like freaky children. And because she's such a manic pixie dream girl, anytime they do something uncanny, she's just like, whoa, I guess my babies are super smart. That's cool.
Okay.
She's not a person.
Yeah, yeah.
I did like that when they were scrolling through the viral post, there's one anonymous comment that says, I get nothing but troublesome otaku vibes from these babies. And I was like, what is that? Is that the nurse? I stan you still. You know what's up. So then they cut to 1 year later. So remember, the babies were like 1 or 2 months old.
Sure.
So 1 year later, Aqua is narrating, it's good now because no one is suspicious anymore if we walk and talk. And so now they're walking and talking like they're like 5 or 6 year olds because they're like 1 year and 2 months old.
Okay, this person just doesn't know how the passage of time works, I guess.
Yeah, they don't. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Okay.
But Ai's job is going pretty well, and it's time for her first acting gig. And this is where we meet an important character for the series. That's cool director guy. He's a cool casual guy. He is pretty hot, I guess, because he looks pretty tired. And at first he's annoyed that kids are there because they get to come along as if they're the manager's children. You know, that's just generally what they keep pretending.
Sure.
And he's like, oh, you brought your children here? And he's like, oh, that's annoying. Oh, I guess it's one of those like modern things, right? Sign of the times, I guess. It's just funnier for a joke later. So Aqua is all sleepy and he's walking around in a hallway and he runs into cool director guy. And he's like, oh, you're that little kid. And Aqua's just like, oh, I hope you really, please be nice to Ai. I hope she does really well, blah, 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 blah. I'm talking like a normal little person, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, whoa, where'd you learn all those words? And Aqua's like, YouTube. He's like, wow, YouTube, sign of the times, I guess. Which I did think was funny.
Okay.
The way he delivers it in the anime is very well done.
Okay.
And now he's just okay with Aqua talking like an adult. That's fine. And he's, like, I actually want to give you a job, little kid. You seem super cool. Here's my business card, small child. So you can call me up about jobs or whatever.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
And then he goes off talking about how there's like, this is one of those times where it's like pretending to be deep, but not really. It's like there's 3 kinds of actors. You got like the lead actor who's like the lead one, the important one. You have like the one actor that's like the good one, but it's like whatever. And then you have the kind that's like young people and they're not expected to act super well, which also seems to be the same qualities that I attributed to the first kind. But don't worry, it's me being super smart. I'm laying out the different kinds of things, you see. That shows that I'm knowledgeable about the industry.
Okay.
And he's saying it in terms of like, and so I needs to act well or else she's just gonna go through the system or whatnot. It's just blah, blah, blah. Don't we know about things? Maybe not really.
Okay.
Then later when they get to when they like are watching the show and seeing how it came out, I isn't in it very much. And it's like, what the fuck happened? So Aqua calls up the director. And he's like, what the fuck, director? Why isn't my mom in it more? And he apologizes. I do like that he keeps calling him like precocious baby or something. And he just calls him that like it's his name. But it's fun hearing him say like, blah, 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 baby. Oh, it's the blah, 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 baby.
Okay.
And he's like, I'm sorry. The problem is just that her parts came out too good and she was too beautiful. And the main actress was like, her company wanted to sell her as like being a really good actress. But how can they do that if I is in there being so much better than her in every way? So that's just the stuff of the industry. We had to cut her out because she was too good. That's the darkness of the industry for you.
Yeah, sure. That's very realistic. Okay.
Yeah, because it's all about power plays,
This is like a child's understanding of how this stuff works.
No, you think that because you don't know about the industry.
Okay.
But he says, I have another job for her. Actually, I wanted to put her in a movie, but only if you come and act in it too. Boom, boom. And it's like, fine. And there's like part where the manager is talking to Aqua about like, why does this guy like you so much, this director guy? And Aqua's like, well, actually, something I learned as a doctor is that people like it when you're casual with them, even though they're older with you. This is something I know in my field. So I just choose to talk to him normally. And that's how I game him into actually liking me.
Okay.
And it's time to meet another character who's the same height as these two. So you think that she's also like 1.5 years. And her name is Kana. And her problem is that she's haughty and rude. She doesn't know how to act on set like a professional. She's never going to make it like this. She needs to learn some valuable lessons about how to be a proper 1-year-old.
Okay, yeah, so I do remember you talking about this, and I'm like, is it meant to be a joke?
No.
That, like, she's a kid, and so obviously she doesn't know how to behave properly?
No, because it's one of those speeches that the director gives to the kid about how the industry works, and it's very seriously presented when he's talking later about Kana and how she doesn't know how to interact with other people to properly succeed in the industry.
But she's meant to be, like, 2 or something.
Yeah. I mean, and it acts like she's, like, 8.
Okay.
Again, it has no sense of time or doesn't know what a child is.
Yeah, they're child actors. They're kids. They're not adults.
Yeah, the anime adds a scene where she's like, hey, helper person, carry this thing for me. And the helper person's like, oh, but I already have my hands full. And they're like, look at that dumb bitch. She's so haughty and rude. How dare she, this child, this baby child.
It's a child, yeah. Yeah, okay.
So the scene that they're in together, Kana and Aqua, is that they're supposed to be like creepy children welcoming someone to a town. And Aqua has 5D chessed this. He acts creepy just by not acting at all because he's already creepy.
Okay.
And like, it's almost interesting because it's almost like, oh, he's realizing this thing about himself that he's just kind of a creepy existence. But they treat it like he, you know, like super... did like it's the fucking thing from Princess Bride where he's trying to game out the things. It's like, no, you think I'll do this, but actually blah blah blah. And the result is that he just talked like he talks and is just a guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see why you're getting the Death Note vibes off this.
Yeah, because he's like, see, you're the best kind of actor. You can read the true intent of the director-writer, unlike the other actors who try hard to act. You know exactly what they wanted, because you're the smartest fucking guy. And because he outacted Kana, the child actress girl, she's like crying and throwing a fit. And she's like, please let me do it again. Please. I swear I can do it better. And it's like, damn, what a cool wish fulfillment where you can really show it to this other 2-year-old.
Yeah.
You can really do a better job than her by being so super smart.
Even if they were like, you know, kids who were old enough to rationalize this sort of stuff, this is still weird and creepy. In terms of I'm being an adult showing up this child. But in this case, it's like a 2-year-old, so it's even more absurd.
Yeah, and it's also funny because it's like you'd think that an adult would be able to act better than a kid, just like because they're an adult, but they still have to make it like, no, it's because he really thought about this deeply, 5D chessed it out.
Yeah,
and,
sure.
And it's like fucking, oh wow, you did better acting than another 2-year-old by being so goddamn smart. Now it's 3 years since our boy was reborn, and things are going pretty well. That movie did well. Ai is moving up in the world. The kids are, I guess, like 10-year-olds now because they're 3. No, wait. Oh, but they are going to preschool, actually.
Okay.
So I guess they remembered something about what kids do at different ages. And at preschool, Aqua finally asks Ruby who she was in her previous life or how old she was. And so they have never had a conversation about this yet.
Yeah, that's an odd thing that they wouldn't have talked about because they both know that they're reincarnations of someone, right?
Yeah, but neither of them is I, so who cares? She's like, oh shit, I can't reveal that I was just a 12-year-old because what if I'm younger than him? He'll make fun of me. And so she's like, I'm an adult woman, but my age is a secret. You can't ask women that. Bleh. And so he's like, fine, I don't care. And he never brings it up again.
Yeah, cool. Okay. Why even bring it up? I don't know.
I guess they were like, you know what? It really doesn't make any sense that they haven't brought it up whatsoever. We'll have them bring it up and then not answer. And then we can consider that tread ground. Don't worry about it. Just so the readers stop asking. But, oh no, it's some hard drama now. It's time for a preschooler dance routine. But Ruby runs off because she can't dance. She'll never be able to dance good enough for this preschooler dance routine because she was sick in her previous life. She couldn't do it. And now she can't do it. And oh no. And there's a flashback that's way too much like the Yuki Yuna season 2 walking sadly in snow, but of her as like a sickly girl, like walking in the hall and then falling on her face and crying. And I was just like, no.
So because in a past life she was ill and not physically like capable of dancing, she still can't dance now?
Well, she doesn't believe in her ability to dance now.
Oh, okay.
Because she doesn't have enough of that crucial past life training to be able to do a preschooler dance.
Okay.
See, all these other preschoolers, they can handle it because they because it's just a fucking preschooler dance.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So you see her like kind of struggling with it and falling down in like an empty dance studio, and Ai shows up and she gets to dance with Ai, and it turns out she's actually really good at dancing. She just had to believe in herself and not feel like she's going to fall down or whatever, and she can do it now with her healthy baby body. And there's actually a part where she starts dancing with Ai because Ai's practicing one of her dances, and Ruby's like, wait, Mom, that's wrong. When you did it at Budokan or whatever, your hand here was way higher in this part. You did it wrong, Mom. And Ai's like, wow, you really know everything about my stuff. That's so amazing. But I'd be like, little shit, I'm just doing my, shut up. Stop nitpicking me. You're a baby.
I suppose I would be impressed if a baby knew that.
I guess you would be impressed, but she just takes them being smart for granted because they're her special children.
Yeah, sure.
And there's like this very fancily animated dance montage. It's like, yeah, it's okay for me to dance too. I can dance too now. Wow. And it's very uplifting. And then cut to Ai is in a phone booth with like the glasses and hat to disguise herself, and she's calling the dad, and she's like talking about like maybe meeting back up because, he hasn't really seen his children and maybe you'd like to see him or something. And you find out that she did that because she heard the two kids talking apparently for the first time about who the dad might be. And the girl was like, what are you talking about? This is Immaculate Conception, obviously.
Okay.
Because she's an idol. And she's like, they have some weird ideas. I should probably have them meet their dad. But it's also just such bullshit that they didn't think about it for years.
Well, it seems like they haven't thought about much for years.
This is very true.
I mean, it's like if it's this general issue with the passage of time is that they're just not really thinking about like how that works or what people might do across the course of a year or so. Also that thing of, just the female characters being kind of dumb. I feel like it's something I've seen in this sort of show before.
Mm-hmm. So Ai's almost 20 now, and she's going to have her first big performance in a dome instead of like other smaller venues. And they talk about how important it is to perform in dome. Mm-hmm. Like how that's like a big step for an idol to go in like a big venue like that.
Sure.
And this is where we learn a bit about Ai's backstory, because we have a flashback to when she was 12, which is kind of funny because she looks exactly the same as she does now at 20, because anime. So you find out that she grew up at a children's home because she had a single mother who went to jail for stealing and then never came to pick her up. And so she's never known what love is. And the manager, as he's scouting her, was like, that's fine. You can be an idol. Maybe you'll learn about what love is or whatever. And she's like, but don't idols have to like tell their fans that they love him or whatever? Someone like me can't do that because I don't know what love is. I can't be an idol. And he's like, actually, it's all about lying. You can just keep lying to everyone. It's actually really amazing. Because that's what the fans want, is they want pretty lies. And he says, maybe if you lie enough, it'll become the truth eventually. And isn't that a beautiful dream? And she's like, yeah, I do just want to have someone I can love. Maybe I can love my fans. Maybe I can learn about what love is. And maybe now that I'm becoming a mom, I can love my children. But we find out that she's never said that she loves you to her children because she's worried that she'll find out it's a lie if she says it. So she's never told her children she loves them yet.
Okay. This is the just weird philosophy nonsense.
It really made me think of Violet Evergarden, where it's like you've grown up in this human society, but you just are like, what is concept of love? I don't know. Ooh, I'm just so special.
Yeah. I mean, it's also like that. I don't know anything about the author, but like it gives me the vibe of like that whole thing with the silent voice where the writer said that they chose to tell the story from the perspective of the bully because no one could understand. First of all, the bully would be relatable, and second of all, you couldn't understand the mind of a deaf person.
Yeah. Like,
it was too alien. And I'm kind of like, I think sometimes people who write things, they just don't actually recognize the ways in which their own minds are fucked. And you're just bringing a bizarrely fucked perspective. Your extremely fucked perspective to the world, and you haven't realized that this is not how everyone else thinks.
I don't think that's this in this case. I think it's just that he thought that this was like a cool, dramatic thing for her to have going on. And It's kind of, you could play with the idea that she's like never really felt love, and she's like trying to kind of navigate what it really means to love someone, and maybe even like delve into the kind of strange relationship you have with your fans, with this like whole parasocial aspect and stuff. There's things you could explore there, but the way that they talk about it specifically here is just not human.
Yeah, it's just kind of broken.
Yeah. So now it's time for... So a man comes to Ai's door and he's a creepy hood man, and he's got a bouquet of flowers, and he stabs Ai to death.
Okay.
And Ai's dead now.
Cool. Yeah.
But here's the thing. She's not dead yet. For 4 minutes, I think I timed out. Wait, 4 minutes and 20 seconds-ish. It's time for her to monologue as she slowly bleeds out.
Blaze it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Someone posted the picture. They do this, like, it's like a romantic scene almost, like these flower petals, like go in the foreground because it's just so beautiful that she was this perfect person and she's dying now and it's beautiful and she's Jesus.
Sure. Makes sense.
Yeah. So the stalker is yelling at her. He's like, you lied to all of us. You were probably laughing behind our backs. You had babies, even though you said you loved us. You lied to us. You're a liar. And she's like, yes, I was lying. But to me, maybe lies are love. In my own way, I thought I was expressing love to all of you. Blah, blah, blah. I was hoping someday maybe it could be true that I could love you. Even now, I want to love you. And what's funny is that like during this whole thing, Aqua is like kind of like grabbing her side or whatever instead of calling the police. At some point off screen, he goes to call the police. But it's like, dude, you do not need to listen to this whole monologue. Just go call the police.
Yeah, sure.
And he's like, whatever, you don't even know who I am. And she says, no, you're Ryosuke-kun, right? You always showed up to my handshake events. You gave me some star sand, and it's still in my living room because it meant so much to me.
Oh, no.
And he's so owned in the marketplace of ideas that he runs off. And the thing is, like, so she did love her fans. Like, she wasn't lying about caring about her fans if she remembers them all, even though she's bad with names and faces, quote unquote.
Yeah.
She remembered all the specific information about every fan of hers and really cared about them this much, even as they're stabbing her to death. So, like, the whole idea that she's living this life, she's not, though. She clearly cared about them.
I guess she didn't know that that's what love was.
I guess.
Like, she didn't know she actually loved them.
I guess. But you gotta understand, like, especially in the OP and other imagery with this thing, it's all like, dark secret liar. She seems so pure, but maybe she has a dark side. But maybe but no, both sides of her are just pure uwu and just want to be full of love and caring and stuff, and she's the best.
Yeah, even though she's dying, she's telling this guy that stabbed her, who killed her,
love you.
Yeah, the star sand. I've still got it.
Yeah, and so once Aqua calls the police, like it cuts to him suddenly on the phone now, and he's like, "Just get over here!" and hangs up, and he goes to hug her as she's bleeding out against the door, like her back is against a door. She's like blah blahing some more, and Ruby comes and it like suddenly notices that something's wrong, and she's like banging on the other side of the door, confused, but she doesn't get to be here for this scene. It's because she's not the main character, and Ruby's like banging on the door, like, "What's going on? What's going on?" And Ai's like, "Your dance was wonderful, Ruby. Maybe you'll be an idol someday. And Aqua, maybe you'll be an actor. Oh, I would love to see that. I sure would love to have a life and not be dead very shortly. I love you. Oh, I was able to say it. And there's this shot that I think is supposed to be like beautiful and haunting, but the way that it's rendered in the anime is like creepy in a way that I don't think was intended, because it almost looks like she's fuzzy because of the weird lighting, because she's like, her eyes are dead now and she's like smiling and there's all this dapple lighting, but it looks really freaky. Oh, here, someone posted it.
Oh, that doesn't look right.
It looks like a shot from fucking Doki Doki Literature Club or something.
Yeah, it looks like a creepypasta. Yeah,
but it's like, that's the thing. She always looks creepier than they intend in the anime, I think, because of the way her eyes are rendered and stuff, and her eyelashes have those white lines in them that make it look like these weird fuzzy caterpillars a lot of the time to me. So she's dead, and cut to the news. And the stalker killed himself after killing her.
Of course.
And it shows Ruby, and she's like she goes on this like speech about trolls online. It's like, you're just saying mean things to make yourself feel better, blah, blah, blah. And it's just, again, it's not human dialogue. Like, she's mad that people are saying horrible things about her mom who's dead, but she goes on like a speech about what it means to be a troll online. And it's just like, shut up, you're not a human.
Yeah.
And suddenly manager lady is like, look, I'm so sorry I died, but maybe I could be your real mother. I have always thought of you as my children. I was like, did you? I guess that happened at some point. Okay.
Yeah.
Ruby goes to hug her, but Aqua does not, because he's too edgy and serious.
Okay.
They cut to them in the car at the funeral, and he's sure Ruby will bounce back because she's so pure. But he's like, but me, I only lived in this new life for and now she's gone. I have nothing to live for. What can I live for? But wait a second. How did the stalker find I? No one could have possibly had that information. And this is really funny because, so he's like, who could have known that she would be both at the hospital that time and at that apartment or whatever this time? It couldn't be her teammates, her idol mates. She didn't seem particularly close to them. It had to be the dad. And it was really funny because I thought he was going to say it had to be the mom manager, the manager lady.
Yeah.
Because she has all that information and a potential motive. But no, he rules her out without mentioning it. I'm like, Detective Conan would never. You fucking have to consider all the possibilities. And it's like he rules out the other girls in the group just because she didn't seem close to them. He rules out the manager because I don't know. It just doesn't seem like he'd have a reason to. He rules out the manager's wife without mentioning it. It had to be the dad. And it also couldn't just be a guy who found her online because sometimes people get doxxed online. No, that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I'm also just like, hasn't he not met this dad? Doesn't he?
Yeah.
Don't they not know who he is or why he exists or whatever?
Yeah, he doesn't know anything about the dad, but I guess he assumes it's even stupider than I realized because he has no reason to know that the dad knew where she was at the hospital. She could have not told him. He doesn't know she told him.
Why would the dad necessarily have this information if they're not part of his life?
We don't know. Fuck you. It's really bad mystery writing. I was really offended in that moment. I was like, no, you can't just, this is not deduction. You can't pretend this is deduction.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah. And he's like, I didn't really have friends or whatever, so he has to be in the entertainment industry for sure. And I'm going to be in the entertainment industry and I'll find him and kill him by my own hands. And he makes a dramatic anime, like, ha ha ha, smile.
Okay, so is this what the show is going to be?
So he goes to the director and asks the director to raise him, which I thought meant that he was going to live with him, but it just means that he's going to like hang out and do kind of a free labor for the director all the time while the director like tells him all his cool thoughts about the industry.
Okay.
Cut to they're teens now. Because I thought it was going to be like, oh, so this is some shitty wannabe Detective Conan or Erased where the child detective sucks. But no, he's an edgy hot teen boy now.
Right.
And they're both hot teens and they're going to go to acting school. And he's like, and thus the prologue ends and I begin my revenge play. And that's the end of the first episode. Cue the awesome opening music that doesn't belong in this show because the show isn't about at all, and the opening pretends it's about
yeah,
but she's dead, and the rest of the show is about him being a super teen, being way too smart for everyone and succeeding in the industry, and other teen girls falling in love with him and him never considering it an issue that secretly he's like 38 years old or whatever the fuck inside.
Yeah, that's the part of it that makes me feel like it's probably the weird fantasy because like it's completely unnecessary. Like he could have just been her son and she was murdered and he wanted to find the killer.
Exactly. Fucking exactly. Like everyone who says this is about the industry or whatever, you could have made that show. You did not make that show.
Yeah. Like that's, I mean, I'm not to put it against anime to just add an insane aspect of the plot for no reason, but it's like it's an aspect of a plot that I can see is like a weird fantasy, which makes me think that's the actual function of this is what we're here for, not necessarily some takedown of the idol industry.
Yeah, because what's funny is like, so he wasn't this brooding, super edgy boy as an adult, as a person. It's just something that he's like now because his mom died.
Yeah.
And he didn't know anything about acting or whatnot before. Like nothing that he brings to the table is important, makes it important that he's secretly an older man inside, except for the being able to project yourself onto him dating all these girls and being smarter than everybody.
Yeah, and it's also like, by the time you have him being a teenager doing investigations and stuff, he could just be a particularly smart teen.
Exactly.
Him being an adult doesn't give him any sort of edge. And like you say, nothing about his past life gives him an edge here either.
Yeah, and it's not like he learned anything important in the meantime.
No. Like he learned about the idol industry, but so would Ai's actual son.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, apart from the whole issue with the age and everything.
Yeah.
Like I guess you could have done something where like the fact that he was an adult and he might have been able to witness things as a kid that nobody would have thought he could have. But like that, obviously that doesn't seem like they played with that. So
No.
I don't know. And then, so yeah, it just becomes about girls falling in love with him because he's so cool.
Yeah. So I've read some of the manga past episode 3. I didn't watch any more of the anime version because I wanted to get through it faster. But I haven't read it all, but I've read like summaries and seen and like flipped through later stuff. So the story right after this time skip, they meet up back with the child actor girl who's now a teenager like them. I mean, obviously, because they're around the same age. And they call her Loli-chan all the time because they knew her as a kid. So they just keep calling her Loli.
They were also kids.
Yeah, but not in their heart.
Okay.
I don't know.
Right.
I guess they knew her as a child actor, so she's forever Loli-chan. And so she's
Sure.
one of the people who gets kind of love triangled with him a bit. She loves him. But he saves her from a bad production because it's like oh my god, Feen. Oh my god. So one of the things that inspired this series to exist is the experience that Akasaka said he had learning about live action drama and stuff from the live action adaptation of Kaguya being made.
Right.
Kaguya-sama Love is War, his manga.
Sure.
So this arc is about Aqua saving this bad adaptation of a manga, a horrible live adaptation of a manga, because he acts so well that he's able to save everyone in it. He's just so fucking good at acting because like Kana's having a bad time even though she's a good actor because all the boys act so bad that she can't do a good performance because it would stand out too much.
But okay, so she can't save it with her good acting, but he can save it with his good acting.
Yeah, because he's better than her.
Yeah, okay.
And he's so good at like acting and stuff that he makes the boys that act badly put on a good performance by really riling them up and manipulating them. And so even though the show was mostly bad, the ending of it is saved. He's even ad-libbing his lines. They're like, keep it in. It's so good. This is the good shit.
This is...
The mangaka who had given up on this adaptation and been like, oh, that's just how it is. You know, sometimes you have bad adaptations. She watches the last episode and she cries. She cries because her manga adaptation was saved because finally they understand what her intention was and it's so beautiful.
She cried for real tears. Okay.
Which just makes it so funny when you know it's like it was inspired by the adaptation of his own thing. It's like, is there something you want to say about how that production went?
That's the thing of drawing from real life sometimes. Sometimes you can do that, but you got to put a bit of separation in there, man.
That's an amazing segue to another thing that I really want to talk about,
Okay.
which I think you might have seen a hint of.
Oh, I think I know what
You know about the part that he based on real life?
Yeah, this part. I'm across this, and this is gross.
Yeah. So during this manga's run, there was an actual woman who committed suicide that she'd been on the Terrace House.
What's the Terrace House?
It was like a popular reality show, Japanese reality show for a little while about a bunch of like, I think kind of minor celebrities hanging out in a terrace house.
Okay, so it's like The Real World or something like that?
Or like one of those like, what was that other channel that would have all like the very minor celebrities being in reality shows together and they'd do like, I don't know, Flavor of Love or whatever.
Yeah, just well, Flavor of Love was more about Flavor Flav getting laid, but yeah, shows where minor celebrities hang out in your house and you film them just doing shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was like this whole incident on set where she got really mad at a guy. She like put her really expensive wrestling outfit in the wash and ruined it. And she threw a hat at him or she like took his hat off. It was like something really minor, but everybody online lost their shit about it and were like going after her for like months, and she ended up committing suicide, and a lot of people thought that was a big contributing factor to it.
Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah. Her name is Kimura Hana, and you know, you can read about it if you want to have a bad day. So he decided to use that in his stupid drama manga.
How close is this? Like how tight are we talking in terms of comparison?
Other people can probably say better than me because I kind of flipped through that stuff, but she'd make similar tweets. He'd put it in the manga very soon after it happened. Like it's very clear that even it like there's like the trolling tweets aspect.
Yeah.
But he's talked about like this was inspired by this.
Yeah. So that's yeah.
But the thing is that the girl who does that in the manga, the main character saves her and then they're dating.
Oh, for fuck no.
But she's unhinged and they eventually have to break up because she's a crazy girl. and he's like stalking her and stuff, but she's okay with it because she loves the main character so much. Or she's like, I wish you would have told me that you were stalking me with hidden cameras, and if you told me, I'd be okay with it because it's you, main character guy.
Okay. So see, I was going to say that like this is not quite the same as like the issue I have with true crime in terms of making entertainment, non-critical entertainment out of like a really awful thing that happened to real people, and there's like the victims of it still exist. But then to actually to take that story and then have your character be the savior and then start writing other things about this person that you base on a real person.
Yeah, you've just worked their death into your weird power fantasy.
Yeah, but then you also like you're basing this off this real person, and then you're giving attributes to this real person like they're kind of unhinged.
Yeah,
that's deeply gross. That's really bad.
Yeah,
that's extremely bad. Yeah,
I was a real person who died.
Yeah,
and it's not fucking okay.
It's rough enough taking something like that and either talking about it like in general or making it part of entertainment is like that's already something that I think people don't grapple with enough in terms of true crime and stuff. But like then, Jesus, that really takes it an extra step further. Ugh, that's really terrible.
Yeah, and especially like again, it like just happened.
Yeah. No, it's very clear.
Like, it's not a story from years ago. Even it's just like, oh, hey, this happened. I'll put this in my manga.
The people who are suffering because this person committed suicide are still around and still suffering. Like it just happened.
Yeah,
that's really terrible. Yeah, that's awful.
Not for you to do, and fuck you.
Yeah, no, that's a deeply gross and insensitive thing to do.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Hey, this is Future Cube.
Yeah, it's a Future Feen.
So, slight update on this whole part of the discussion. So, the episode that covers this event in the manga aired, and the mother of Kimura Hana, the girl who the suicide was based on, was not happy. And she actually tweeted implying that there's some legal proceedings going on. And it's been kind of a shit show because, of course, fans of the anime are getting all defensive and claiming that she wants to destroy anime. And she, today she just had another statement where it's like, this isn't about the themes, it's not about the story, whatever, but about the way it was done, where they used all these details of my fucking daughter's suicide for this story to make money. And it just felt kind of wrong to, have us mention this in the podcast without talking a little about this too, since it's very relevant now.
Yeah, it's worth mentioning that the issue of the manga that came out that dealt with this did not come out long after her death. The episode of the anime dropped, I think, a day away from the 3rd year anniversary of her death. So
yeah, yikes.
Yeah, we said this in the pod, but there's like taking details of her death and using them for your entertainment product is already gross. And then there's the additional like wildo gross thing of then making this character date your main character and then become a crazy girlfriend.
Yeah.
Is like all new level of gross. And the argument about how, they're just trying to show what, the realities of this situation and raise awareness and stuff is like, I don't think it holds any water to begin with, but it, considering what they do with this character and everything, and the insensitivity of the timing and everything, it holds anti-water. It repels water, this fucking argument. Like,
it's hydrophobic.
Aside from anything else, like, if your objective was to talk, like, raise awareness and talk about this horrible thing that happens in the idol industry, I would imagine the first thing you would do is talk to the fucking family. Like, get their permission to use this story. If you were coming from a place of fucking compassion, it's so obvious that this is not what's happened here.
Yeah, like, I can't speak to whether they are exact tweets or not, but pretty much everyone familiar with the incident says that the screenshots that they shared of, like, what people were saying to the fictional character was, like, basically screenshots of what was being said to Hana. And obviously there's going to be a lot of overlap in that kind of trolling, but at least from the sounds of it, it's just too close. And besides the fact that, like, we know it was inspired by that, like, that's word of God, the creator said. So it's like, you can't be like, I'm going to put that in my comic right now, right away, and also use a lot of these details from it. And it's just wrong, and I'll fight anyone.
Yeah. No, it's wrong and it's gross, and it's like, even today, I was looking at the tweets about this, and
oh no.
You've still got people in the replies going, oh, it's terrible because, I can't believe they're doing, these people are, attacking her like directly, because the episode was about cyberbullying and they were trying to raise awareness of, the horrible aspect of cyberbullying. I'm just like, no, they're not.
Yeah, she was even pointing that out in this statement of like, fans are telling me that this is about slander and trying to prevent that, but that's what you're doing now to me. So, like apparently it doesn't, I don't think she was quite saying that, but it's like, well, apparently it doesn't convey that message that well.
No, yeah.
If you're so big fans and you haven't gotten that message.
Yeah. Apart from the communication is entirely ineffective if this is what he was going for.
Yeah.
And even then, I just maintain. Look, I haven't seen it. I can't say this for certain, but it really does not fucking seem like that. That's what he was trying to do.
Yeah, it's just another drama thing in this soap opera.
Yeah, exactly. It's putting drama in the soap opera, and then to go on to like what's going to happen with this character in the future is like,
yeah,
you cannot pretend that this is a respectful portrayal trying to raise awareness. No, this is an absurd drama anime.
Especially as soon as you try to explain like what the actual situation is, and then it's like after the main character, who is a reincarnated guy who became the son of his Oshi idol, so he ends up dating her because he falls for her because she acts exactly like his mom, who he's still in love with, and that makes her get the star eyes, and then he kisses her, and it's like, this is not fucking an awareness campaign.
Yeah. Like, it's not to say that, like, wilder anime can't occasionally get, deep and kind of interesting in terms of, like, examining a character in an interesting way. So it's like, you could have talked about suicide and cyberbullying and stuff in an interesting way in this bizarre anime. I'm not saying it's impossible. It's just that in this case, you've directly used a real person's experience.
Yeah.
Like, shortly after they died without ever consulting the family. So that's the other part of this that makes this just, it's already absurd and now it's even more fucked up. It's just,
Yeah. There's other shows that have like talked about this thing without, making a direct parallel and have conveyed the message. Like I remember Gatchaman Crowds actually had a cute part where the main character was getting super cyberbullied, and then she just had to turn her phone off and go do like home repair stuff. And it was like, yeah, that's a mood.
Yeah. Again, it reminds me of A Silent Voice in that everyone's just trying to kill themselves all the time because it's a stupid drama thing. Like, it's just the most dramatic thing you can do.
And it's another one where the love interest tries to commit suicide and then the main character saves it and it becomes about him.
Yeah. Then the deaf girl gets half kicked to death by another girl who eventually becomes her friend.
It's so good and so good and so thoughtful and really racist. On that general topic, so episode 8, it was suddenly announced was going to be a recap episode. And I can't tell you it's related to all of this. I don't believe that it was planned from the beginning, for one, partly because of where it happens and partly just because like you very rarely need a recap episode in a single core anime. But obviously, there's other production issues that can come up that can, like what would happen with Wonder Egg, where they needed to suddenly have a recap episode, which was in the same episode, funnily enough. It was in episode 8. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was somehow tied into all of this problem.
No, yeah, doesn't seem unlikely. Well, especially because if they're concerned about legal action, it's like, well, yeah, what happens with this character next?
Yeah.
What do we do with this character next? So it's like,
this is going to be really awkward because it cuts off like right before they kiss for the first time, him and the girl, and it's like,
yeah, God,
it's gonna be great.
Anyway.
But yeah, it just felt like something that it wouldn't be quite right if we released this and hadn't addressed it, since it's, ongoing, very relevant to what we were talking about.
Yeah.
So yeah, hang in there, Kimurahana's mom. I hope you're able to succeed with any legal challenges if you end up, deciding to formally bring them. And fuck all these people on Twitter. Just they can eat all the shit.
Anime fans, who knew?
We need to press them. But it's fine. The main character is still mostly in love with Ai. He says he never got over her.
He never got over his mum.
Yeah. His mom he loves. I
think we sort of brushed over that a bit. that aspect of it is, where's that gif with the taped over word of Tom Hardy and Mad Max pointing upwards and saying that's a fetish? That's what that is.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, this is anime. Anime puts the fetishes on main. We all know this. This is a fetish. That is what that is. Because there is no other justification for putting this bizarre thing in this story. I don't care what anyone has to say. Ugh.
But hey, don't worry. He's also got other love interests besides the person based on the real girl that committed suicide, like his sister who still wants to marry him, but despite not knowing that he's been reborn as her brother, and has the parallels to star-crossed lovers, and he always liked both her and I, and it was very important to him. Had her as his phone lock screen. I can't wait for them to find out their true identities, and I can't wait to see where that goes.
Yeah, I guess I don't trust that it won't go there, but
I think it should. I think they should just find out each other, and then they should have a baby, and it's I reborn. I think that's where it should go, because fuck it,
Yeah, to me, I was going to say it's more like, I guess, if she's not overtly saying I want to marry my brother, that's something, I guess. But I don't know.
Yeah, you could say maybe once they find out that they're siblings, they won't want to fuck each other anymore. But who knows? You got to keep it ambiguous.
No, there's no way this show might not go there if what you're telling me is true. Oy.
Also, here's very late game spoilers.
Okay.
So who the dad is gets revealed very quickly. And there's a fake out with a half brother guy, and it's whatever. But so the actual dad is a super evil serial killer guy who was 15 when he had a child with I, and was already a crazy murder guy, I guess. And someone just posted a picture of him. He's this hot, bishy, evil guy.
Right. How did he end up having sex with I?
I guess they just met they were normal boyfriend, girlfriend, and then he decided years later to have a stalker guy kill her because he's evil.
Okay.
He's an evil, crazy guy.
Okay.
Evil, crazy, hot guy.
Okay.
And one of the most, I can't stop thinking about it today, is there's a panel of them thinking about how they can't catch him for what he did to I, because how the main character puts it is what he did to I was he was in middle school, so he can't go to jail for it. But the only thing he did with I when he was in middle school was get her pregnant.
Yeah.
Not kill her. So the thing that the main character is very concerned with that this guy did to I, more so than killing her, is that he got her pregnant when they were both teens consensually.
Okay, so he's more upset about that.
That's how it comes off to me. I don't know if the writer just forgot about time again and forgot that he didn't kill her in the same year that they fucked.
But he wasn't the one who actually killed her. He just gave someone else information, is the implication, right?
But he's a super evil mastermind, so he knew the stalker would kill her.
Yeah, but there was never going to be any charge you could bring against this guy to get him arrested or whatever. So his age doesn't.
Conspiracy to commit murder.
It seems flimsy to me because he'd have to be able to prove this guy knew that was what was going to happen.
Well, lucky for you. See, that should be the actual issue they bring up. But no, look at this fucking panel. Kamiki was a middle schooler at the time. We can't judge him legally. Oh no, it's middle schooler at the time that he fucked I.
Also, if he was 15, wasn't she 16?
Yeah, so she was older than him.
Yeah, okay.
But he's presenting it like he did something unacceptable to I when he was 15.
Okay.
And they had sex.
Yeah, sure.
But conveniently, he has recently killed another woman, just stabbed her or whatever, so that they can, I think, get him arrested for that crime, which is much easier.
Okay. So he's just moved on to actual murder himself.
Yeah.
Rather than murder by proxy. Okay. Cool.
And it's really funny because the fake out that they have main boy DNA tests everyone he runs into just in case. So that's how he figures out one of the coworkers or whatever is his half brother. And he finds out that the half brother, his mom was killed in a murder suicide. So he's like, oh shit, I guess that's it. My dad's already dead. He was killed in a murder suicide. But joke's on you. That's just an unrelated murder man that same lady dated. She just keeps dating guys who kill people. This is a really serious comic about the industry, about problems with the industry.
Right,
that's what kills me. All of I's problems, everything that made this happen to I and stuff, they don't have shit to do with the idol industry. It's because of this other insane horse shit where there's super murder teens and other nonsense.
Yeah, if it had just been a stalker, you could maybe talk about the connection in the idol industry and stuff, but no, that's not what was happening. Yeah.
If you wanted to make a story that like that, what people want this to be, go watch Perfect Blue. It's a good movie. I mean, you know, like there's still like some aspects where like it's a little leery and stuff, but it's a fucking good murder thriller. Satoshi Kon, really good director. That actually is about an idol dealing with issues that have to do with idol stuff while also dealing with this dangerous psychological thing, and it's good. That shit's good.
Okay, cool.
So I needed to tell you because people talk about this like it's a completely different thing than what it is, and what it is stupid and gross, and I hate it, and it makes me feel really sad for Ai because it does end up making you kind of care about her just in time to fridge her for the main character.
Of course, yeah,
and
that's what they're there for.
It sucks.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm across this now. Good to know, I suppose. Because I was planning on trying to watch this, so
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, because like me, people just told you like it's crazy. You just gotta watch it. It's wild, and it's just so sexist and gross and sad in a way that just like makes me mad that you would do this. I'm pretty confident that by the end of this season, people will realize, because I feel like this show is mainly being talked about and made relevant based on its pilot and just kind of the general, like, it has high production value. And I'm pretty confident that by the end of the season, everyone will have kind of fallen off that thinks it's really cool. Not because it's like, oh, it offended me too much, but just because it's just this guy hanging out, talking to everyone and being smart and being an actor.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. My faith in general anime public is wavers a bit because I remember like people only really fell off Egg at the end. There were a lot of people who only fell off at the end because they said, oh, it ran out of money and it started to look really bad, which it did. It looked laughably terrible.
The plot did also fall apart way more than it had already.
Yeah, but there were a lot of people who backed it right to the end. The only thing they said about it was that they ran out of cash. And that was the reason that the ending was a bit weird.
It's kind of hard to say like what they would think of it in an alternate universe where that same like also robots, also blah 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 happened, but well animated.
Yeah,
I guess we can't really know what would go on then.
I suppose, yeah, but it's a thing of you should have been able to recognize that this was trash earlier than that, and you just didn't.
I know.
You can never
At
tell.
first, I felt a bit more guilty, but I mean, it is what it is, man. What can I say? I think it sucks. I think everything that it says about women and stuff sucks. It sucks. And that's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, I can see where you're on the place here. I really think it was interesting that, yeah, like the way there was something odd about the way people pitched it. People saying like, you know, just check it out, don't find anything about it. Like you say, it is like Birdie Wing is a better example of a thing to do to people with that because there's nothing. Birdie Wing's weird and it very occasionally does something a bit sort of dumb and horny and gross, but it's mostly just a bizarre time. Like a really, really bizarre, weird time. And like, you're not going to really upset people with the nonsense that's happening in Birdie Wing. Yeah, this doesn't seem like the sort of show. By the way, I mentioned this in the Twitter, but yeah, the incest was uncested very quickly on Birdie Wing, so don't worry about that. I know we had that warning about Birdie Wing being cancelled. Birdie Wing is uncancelled. There's no more incest. It was over very quickly.
I'm sure there's nothing problematic in Birdie Wing whatsoever. It is pure.
I'm sure there's...
That's the other thing that super pisses me off about this show. Because in the end, it feels like it plays the whole like perfect idol thing really weirdly straight. Like they occasionally reference, you know, like people are in this just for the money, but they want to start up a new idol group, and that's presented as like a good thing. And I was just so good and pure, and she really brought happiness to people, and blah blah. And it's like you're pretending to be real about this while still having the same dumbass view of it. It's so stupid.
Yeah. That's not the sort of thing you can do in a takedown. Because it's just not the way things. It's not real. You're playing into the bullshit that the idol industry tries to sell you. Like, yeah, that's silly.
It's bad. People who think it's good are wrong, and they're just gonna have to deal with being wrong.
Yeah, no, fair.
They're just gonna have to live their wrong lives where they have wrong anime opinions, but wrong opinions about the anime. People just they think it's a cool show. They just think it's a cool show. It's not a cool show, Feen. It's not a cool show. There's a good music video for the OP, and the OP is one of those songs that I like because you can tell it was like someone who comes from the Vocaloid world, because of like there's something about the pacing of singing in Vocaloid producers when they go on to do other things where it's just like this smells of Vocaloid. And so the official music video that they did for the OP is like a really nicely produced Vocaloid music video almost that tells the whole story as if it was Ai's story about her children and, you know, like learning what true love is and her true love for her children. And it just fucking sucks because you see her like, I can finally tell you I truly love you. And she's like holding their tiny hands. And you just remember both of these children are super creepy otaku for her, and she'll never know that in the real actual show.
That really undercuts any beauty in her learning about And it's also just like, it's kind of that idea of like people who don't really understand what love is or have like dysfunctions that make it difficult for them to feel those sort of emotions. It's such a pap thing to then just at the end say, oh no, they finally learned how to feel it or whatever. I don't know.
She was able to learn love despite all of her issues because of her one truest love for our main character, fucking piece of shit creeper guy.
Well, exactly that. Yeah, that's what we're doing here. Like, I don't know.
And now I need to go watch something good. I need to watch Skip and Loafer. People have been posting some screenshots from Skip and Loafer. It looks so fucking cute and good, and I want to watch it and sleep.
I need to get onto Skip and Loafer as well, yeah. Apart from anything else, I have been well informed of nice trans rep in it, which is like something that is extremely rare.
Yeah. And everything I see of it, it's just like, it looks nice. It just looks nice.
It looks nice. And also like the whole thing with like trans rep of an adult woman, like who isn't like an awful caricature or something.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, so okay, for people who aren't familiar, because there's a couple of people in the chat, Skip and Loafer is about this girl from the country who goes to live in the city to attend this nicer school. On the first day, though, she kind of makes a bad impression, but she ends up forming a friendship with a very popular dude. Now, this is just a straight up, very nice slice of life thing. The animation style I've seen a few people say is like slightly reminiscent of Mob. It has a little bit of that vibe to it.
Ooh.
But because she's moving, she goes to live with her aunt, who is a trans woman, who's just basically going to be, she's going to be her surrogate parent while she's in the city. And the aunt is just, from everything I've seen, she's just a lovely character who's, just portrayed quite nicely. And also like, there's that difficulty sometimes when you see trans women drawn. Like mostly, this is the thing. Most of the ones I've seen in anime, it's always really like a really heavy caricature where they have gigantic jaws and huge shoulders and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas this is like, yeah, she has a slightly stronger chin and she's tall. So like it seems like a very nice balance of she comes across, in the way that a trans woman can come across, a little bit taller, a little bit slightly broader in the shoulders and some of the facial features and stuff. But otherwise it just seems very nice. Like it just, you almost never get this. And it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, this is just really lovely to see.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It's like, oh yeah, I can see how they like, have some indications that she's a trans woman, but like, yeah, again, she's not drawn like a stupid character and she looks cute.
Yeah. The last time something like this was popped up was Heaven's Design Team had a trans female character as well.
Yeah.
And, she's a bit taller, slightly, stronger jaw. But otherwise, yeah, just treated quite nicely. And like
some kind of fucking just like a person.
Yeah, just like a fucking person, yeah. Imagine. So all we got to do is get some good trans mask rep in some anime, and maybe we're on the right path finally here.
Let's work on it, anime. Let's get
yeah, I got to check out Skip and Loafer. I got to have a look at that because
we need nice. We need that. We need good things because especially after Magireko and not Magireko. Well, we do need to watch more Magireko. Sadly,
we are going to talk about Magireko. Yeah,
it's only 4 episodes. We can do it.
Yeah. We might do a little watch party of those eps before we actually do the episode. So we'll keep you posted and we'll try and arrange that for one Friday or Saturday night or something US time, which might be fun. Yeah. Yeah,
it's so doable. All anime should just be 4 episode cores, actually. I don't have time. Yeah. You don't understand. Put your whole story in very short. Thank you.
Okay, well.
I guess watch Skip and Loafer and none of this shit.
Yeah, there you go. Watch Skip and Loafer because that will be...
having a nice anime.
Yeah, there you go.
You put that in a weird tense.
I'm sorry.
Have a nice anime, everyone.